Welcome to another episode of Ozfish. Dave here, let's get some. So I want to tell you a story about a really good fish that I lost yesterday afternoon on really light tackle. I put a lot of time in relation to a particular spot with not much success. I got one small jewfish. So just before dark, I was motoring home and I came into a particular part of the river on the way home where you do at times catch a lot of flathead. So what I did was I picked up a really super light outfit that I was carrying in my boat that I use to catch whiting and bream on, and also it's a fun rod to catch like flathead on. So I've had this particular rod for years, and it is a beautiful like 7-foot G Loomis 842 rod. So this has a really fast action. So there's a lot of bend in this rod. It's fantastic for working surface lures, for walk the dog and things like that. It'll cast a super light jig head a long way. Like this rod is really rated to cast a 1/16 size jig head up to a 5/16 size jig head. And 5/16 is about a gram over a 1/4 ounce jig head. So it's a very light rod. And I had just had it on a very small 2000 size reel, like a Daiwa ballistic reel, with 8-pound braid and a 10-pound leader. And I had it rigged up on a 1/4 ounce jig head with about a 3/0 hook on a 3-inch Z-Man paddle tail in bad shad. Having a lot of success in the river using the bad shad colour. It's particularly deadly on flathead. So yeah, really good lure, you know, when you're chasing flathead. That 3-inch size is awesome when you're chasing all different size flathead. So I was working my way along the bank, probably fishing in about, like 10 to 11 foot of water, casting in really close with that smaller lure. And I was working my way along the bank to an area where it drops into a hole. And the hole's about, maybe 16, 17 feet deep. And like I said, I was using my sounder. I actually had the sounder on down scan mode, which is a fantastic mode when you're just like assessing, a spot in the river. And I actually saw fish come up really clearly on the down scan. They look like good fish. Anyway, I just flicked that lure out there and I got a tick on the rod, just really like a flathead would tick you. So I leant back in the rod and struck that fish, and really that fish didn't wake up for about 5 to 10 seconds. And then all of a sudden, that fish just sort of like took off. About a minute into the fight, I realised this is a really good fish, a jewfish on light tackle. It felt to me a fish between about 80 centimetres up to maybe a metre. So what I did was I couldn't really put any sort of hurt at all on that fish with that super light rod. So I just used the electric and I went round and round and round and round on that fish, and just taking my time with it and just trying to really wear that fish out. And I eventually had that fish up in the water column, and I had that fish probably about, I actually didn't see him, I didn't get a visual look at him, but I probably had him up about 5 foot, from the surface. And you would not believe it, like I pulled the hooks on that fish, and when that fish went down, he left a big hole in the top of the water as he went down. So that was extremely disappointing, devastating really, because you don't get a shot at a lot of, bigger jewfish, those 80 to meter fish on really super light tackle, because most of the time, of course, you're throwing, like your gear when you've got, maybe 15-pound braid, 20-pound braid, if you bowl, 10-pound braid, on heavier rods, usually 6 to 12-pound rods, not on a G Loomis 4 to 8-pound super light rod. So yeah, it was really disappointing to lose that fish. And I think what happens is, all good fishermen, when you do lose a fish, you tend to drift down the river and you think about, what did I do wrong? And upon reflection, I didn't do that much wrong in relation to fighting that fish. Like, I took my time, I went round and round and round on him. I tried to sort of wear him out, and I wasn't sure whether that lure was right down his throat, so whether the fluorocarbon was rubbing on his teeth or his mouth, or whether he was hooked on the outside of his jaw. And it turns out that when I looked at the lure the next morning, there is absolutely no fraying whatsoever in relation to my leader. So obviously I must have had that jewfish pinned on the outside of his jaw, and unfortunately, yeah, I just I pulled the hooks on that fish. So yeah, I'm still getting over it, really. Still trying to get over it. You know, I don't lose many fish. You know, when I hit a fish, usually once I've hit a fish, my conversion rate is usually pretty high, and I don't drop that many fish. But yeah, that particular fish, that fish hurt. I'm going to roll a little bit of footage in relation to what happened yesterday afternoon. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this just this short video in relation to my continued journey in relation to targeting jewfish in the river. It's been really interesting. It's a fish. It's a good fish. Feels like a jewfish to me. It's always good when you get good fish on your really light tackle. It's fun, you know, like. Could be a jewfish, this fish. A bit of weight in it. Oh yeah, baby. I think I better up that electric and come round on him. Sometimes you get these jewfish and they'll want to go out a little bit, get a little bit of depth. Man, he's really got that G Loomis 842 loaded up. Mate, I've been out slugging away all afternoon and caught one small Jew. This is going to be a very short episode, man, but this goes to show that perseverance and persistence sort of pays off, you know, like it's a very, very light outfit. And I've hit a Jew, I'd say, just before dark. Pretty shallow water. You can see them on the down scan, so it's going to take me time. See if I can get this fish on light gears. So been fishing in deep water today in hard running current, and I've sort of thrown everything I've had at them, but just one small fish. But you wouldn't believe it, you know, just before dark I was just throwing a quarter. With a Z-Man paddle tail, little 3-inch. And yeah, I came across some fish on the down scan there. Could see them sort of clear as a bell, and just belted out there, and only about 16 foot of water. And hit this fish. I haven't got a whole lot of power in this rod, you know, like, so I can't really give him much. I've just got to sort of try to tire him out, really. Probably about 8 pound braid, 10 pound leader. Just trying to use the electric motor just to swim around with him a bit. Come on, baby. Wow. Gonna go the slightest bit up on the just gonna turn the electric off for a sec. Just gonna drift along with him for a bit, tire him out. Nice to get a look at him. Oh, I can feel him just weakening his resolve just a little bit. Oh,